Today on Conversation Aloud, we're discussing what is the greatest threat facing Western society today. It's a big question, but we're joined by Lyubim, who is a five-time first-generation immigrant. He's a Winter Olympian. He's a 9/11 survivor, and he's a best-selling co-author with Steve Forbes. Today, he runs Wings for Heroes, which is an organization that takes amputee and deaf veterans flying to help them reclaim purpose after unimaginable loss. Welcome to the show, Lyubim.
Thank you very much, Hadi. Thank you for having me here.
Good to have you. Um, you know, there's a lot of things there you have done. You've survived 9/11. You've been an Olympian. You've moved across borders 5 times. You've been to Ukraine to help them rebuild. You've even had an advisory investment company during the financial crisis. What's the common thread that you have that allows you to face hardship and rise up stronger?
I would say it's my inner drive. I think it's the need to get things done, things that are important to me. I am very clearly aware that I'm here for a very limited time, and I think that is the biggest motivator, knowing that it could be over at any time. And when I'm faced with major difficulties and tough situations, it's actually knowing that my time is limited. It allows me to move forward. And as I'd like to say that all we need to do is take the next best step that we think that is required right now.
Yeah.
So,
So it's that urgency that you have, that
yes.
also you're aware that, life is precious, life is short, gotta seize every moment. Do you see life as there's a lot of people that see life as kind of a game that we're here to enjoy for a short period of time, and we try to enjoy it as much as possible. Do you see life as a game, or is your view of life different?
I would say if you look at it as a game, it's a game that has a set of rules, that everything is really predefined and all the things have happened before us. And if you are a student of history, it's very clear that the game we're playing. And I think the interesting thing is that when you play a game like sports or board game, whatever, you know the rules up front and you know the place that you were given. Only in life, the interesting thing is that in this game, you've got to figure out what your position is, and then when you figure out that position, you actually have to do whatever it takes to be in that position. And I think being an athlete really taught me early up front that, I'd say I'd put it in the words of one of my coaches. He said, Lyubim, making a national team will not be hard, but staying on it, it will be very, very hard.
Mm.
So we are looking for a place. And once we get there, our task is to stay and actually stay as long as we can until we win.
Yeah. So on that, why did he say that? Why is staying in a team harder than getting into the team?
Um, you see, when you are, it's like in anything, when you want something and you're going to a goal, um, there are always people there and you know where you're trying to get. But once you get there, you arrive, and then the mindset changes. I think you can see it with a lot of talented athletes that make it to the NFL, NHL, NBA, places where they pay big money. They work really hard and take a lot of risk, and then they arrive, and then everything changes, and everyone around is thinking, "Oh, what happened to that person?" Well, what happened to that person is that person actually reached the goal of making it to the team, getting that contract, but then you don't know what to do. So when you are on the team, you have a lot of hungry guys that are, we say, they're chewing at your heels all the time. So when I am chasing you, I know the goal, but once I pass you, now you're chasing me and I become the goal.
Yeah. A
So I
different
think
game.
that was the experience for me.
Yeah, it becomes a completely different game. But it's also, to your point, when there's that clarity on that goal, it's, I think, a bit easier to understand the steps. But then once you achieve that, there's a bit of uncertainty that comes to the table, and then it's very hard to kind of still push forward, and kind of continue the momentum. Let's say.
Yes, exactly.
For sure. we start off with the question, what is the greatest threat to facing society today? What do you feel that is that you've from your experience?
Um, I wanted to ask you what you think is that, because you were kind enough to not ask me that question before we started, but what would be your guess?
Um, there's so many things coming together, um, but I feel at one angle there's potentially technology. At the other angle, there is our ability to deal with challenges. I feel like we have forgotten how to do that. But there's many different angles coming together.
That is really, that's a really good one. The second one especially. Um, I believe that the greatest threat that is facing, especially the Western society, is apathy. You see, after COVID, we are all divided. And you know the old saying, divide and conquer? So we are all divided, we are all separate. And a few weeks ago, I went back home to Colorado. I left 10 years ago when the war in Ukraine started. It started in 2014. That was the year when the book that I co-authored with Steve Forbes became a bestseller. And I actually had a green light in the financial world. I felt like I'm standing on the street and I see all these green lights in front of me, and I can go as fast as I can, as far as I want to. But then I chose to go and help people who were completely lost, and not because of their own choice. And in the past 10 years, I've just seen things that I could not imagine how people would look away from other people's suffering, or even little things, like last week we went to a concert, the Gypsy Kings were here, and first row was reserved before the show. It was for the kids, and it were strollers with mothers. And there's some tourists that walked in drinking beer, smoking, and all the moms are not happy, and nobody would say anything. And I was the one out of 1,000 people who walked up and say, look, you guys are right in front of families with kids. Could you please go smoke somewhere else?
Mm.
And I got a lot of pushback, like a lot of anger, like, how can you tell me? And I am thinking, like, how can I be the only one? And that's just the small things. So the apathy in the Western world that need to get my cheese and turning on blinders to everything it really, I think, is the biggest threat that we're facing. And if we keep looking away, the freedoms that we enjoy, I don't think we can enjoy them forever.
That's really, really interesting what you said there. So let's kind of break it down. When you say apathy, what does that mean to you?
It means that you see somebody who is weaker than you, or you see somebody in my case, because I take care of amputee veterans, you just see a person who is like a fish in a fishbowl who wants to get out, and they cannot because they physically cannot. So it all began years back, before the full scale of invasion on Ukraine. I ran a chain of gas stations, was an infrastructure company, and I was at one of our gas stations by a highway, and I saw a double amputee roll out
That's in
from the
Ukraine?
gas station. Yeah, Ukraine.
Yeah.
We're in Ukraine now. He rolls out on his wheelchair in the gas station, and he goes towards the highway. And I looked and I thought, there is no walkway, there's no pedestrian way, and especially there's no room for a wheelchair. And maybe 10 minutes later, the thunderstorm came. We have lightnings, we have thunder, we have really strong weather rolling through. And I'm thinking about this guy. So I called my driver and I said, just bring the pickup truck and we have to go. Like, come here fast. And he came, and we went in the direction where that the gentleman in the wheelchair went, and we found him rolling by the side of the road. He's getting splashed by the trucks, by cars. He's all covered in mud,
Mm.
and there's not one car that stopped. So, we caught up with him. We put him in the car. We put the chair in the back, and like the condition that the guy was in, it was just heartbreaking. And I think it was one of the major points that I knew that I have to do something about it. And not just, Ukraine is just a place where I was able to get a live person to fly, but this mission, the Wings for Hero, is a worldwide movement. But seeing somebody who gave everything, to protect his country, and then just being in such shape and nobody would stop it, just I cannot look away. And I cannot understand how other people can look away, because that is the epitome of apathy.
Yeah. Have you ever thought about why people do look away or don't just don't get involved when they see something like that in front of them?
Every day.
And what's
And the
your
answer is
conclusion?
that it depends. It depends. In a lot of countries, like the European Union, I think the fear of being wrong is their biggest fear. Like, they're just so terrified of doing something that is wrong. I don't know what is going on,
Mm.
but people are really afraid of doing something wrong, so they would rather do nothing. And with time, they become numb. I think the empathy is kind of, it's the human trait that is disappearing. And I think now it's accelerating again for the same reason, because COVID separated us. We're all in our boxes, and I am speaking for myself. I am a really active outdoor person, and I find myself, I'm not working for me, so I have a mission. But the fact that I can sit in front of the computer for days and on and look outside, it's nice weather, the beach is right there. I want to go flying, but I decide that I'm going to stay in front of my computer. And when my friends write to me, I say, no, I'm not going to go. And it's the same thing across the board. So we're chasing our dreams, right? We're trying to make a living, but it became so extreme that it's our need and desire is pushing away the human qualities. The human nature is kind of going on the backdrop. And I think the ego is driving this bus,
Yeah.
and it's in charge.
Yeah, it's in the UK, there is a big problem with connection, with actually being part of the community and engaging in the community, and especially with the younger generation, you see this a lot, whereby they are, as you said, kind of locked in, either playing with something, technology, or working or something, but they're not going out and engaging with the community. And there's a funny thing over here we say in the UK: if you want to have a conversation, you need to have a drink first, because people are just unable to really have a genuine conversation without having a drink first to ease the nerves and things like that. So it is interesting how we are going to that pace where we're unable to communicate truthfully with each other, but also when we see challenges to say, actually, it's not that it's his challenge and his challenge only, but I want to be part of that to to help out. I think the other element is, I think a lot of people are also going through a lot of challenges, and it's hard to focus on someone else maybe sometimes when you're going through a challenge and you're so in your head. To your
Yeah.
point, which is what you said, everyone's thinking, "Am I doing this right? Am I doing this wrong?" We're in this kind of culture where we're comparing everything with everyone all the time online, and so you're constantly.
It changed a lot. That's true. We're comparing ourselves not with what's around, but all the best pictures that people are posting.
Yeah,
That accelerates it too. So you
yeah,
find a spot, you want to go to a spot on Instagram. You don't want to get together with your friends and say, like, when I was growing up, if we wanted to go somewhere, we had to get together first. And then we had to decide where we're going and come up with a plan how we're going to get there, because, I grew up in the 70s and the 80s and in the former Soviet Union. So you really had to make a plan how to get to a place. And then living in the States, it was the same thing. I moved to the States in 92. It was really, it was an effort to go from place A to place B. And
yeah,
now, well, first of all, people don't go. And I've read a study that Generation Z is losing the skill of communication. Like the younger generation, they don't know how to have a conversation, even if they have a drink. So the issue that we have, the problems that we have right now, they are accelerating. And it's like, it's not like it's exponential. It's getting
mm,
faster and faster. So I don't know what the reversal is. Plus, ChatGPT helps us. I use it to edit me. I don't use it as a tool, but I see all the ads. Just prompt, enter, PDF, sell.
mm, yeah. Yeah, and technology obviously now makes it that you actually don't need to engage with anyone to survive. You can
Exactly.
order online. You can do everything.
Take out food, do your work.
Yeah,
You really don't need to do anything.
yeah,
Everything is done for you. We don't need to go anywhere. We don't need to see anybody. We can actually completely isolate ourselves forever.
yeah. Yeah.
and survive.
That's survive. Do you see a difference? So you've lived, you mentioned there Ukraine, you've been Turkey, the US. Do you see a difference in this apathy level, or is it the same?
I
Or
think it's different in the sense that in some places you can find more people who are empathetic and are willing to do something than others. So the apathy is spreading and it's going deeper and deeper, but it's different in different countries. So if you take if you go east, you call it third world, right? They have issues with survival. Like they're struggling to feed their families. Then you have the other extreme, like the US and the UK, where life is relatively good, but we have so many pressures and demands on us because the Western culture places a lot. We have to work all the time. So it is different in different places and for different reasons, but it's all across the board. And I would say the poorer the country, the more empathetic people you will find. And in Turkey, if you go outside and you yell help, they're all running to help you. If anything happens to a child or a woman or a man, they're all running in dozens or hundreds. This country is amazing in terms of, helping each other. But in the States, one of the things that I remember from NYU, I graduated 99. So I'm the last graduating class of last century. And we had this case in sociology where a lady was being raped in the Bronx. It was a huge apartment complex, and she was yelling for help for like more than 30 minutes. And when the police came next day, thousands of people heard her crying for help and nobody did anything. So when they asked them, why did you not do anything? They said, well, we have so many people around. I thought somebody would call the police, but nobody called the police and she died.
yeah,
And we're talking about, it's the 80s and the 90s. So the issue was like this for a long time, but now it's just extreme.
yeah, that's really sad. You said there's something also interesting, which is, the the more challenging the environment is, which you find in third world countries, the more people will help out compared to richer countries like the UK, US. Um, do, why do you think that is?
I think it is because, first of all, it's a cultural thing. And second of all, because in the US and in the UK, we have a system that is designed to protect our well being and our life. And we are clearly aware if somebody is trying to do something that is threatening us, there is a system that is punitive, that there will be consequences, that there's police, there's ambulance, there are firefighters, they're well trained, they're really well funded, they will show up and help. And in other places, it just will not happen.
Mm,
So people live in the more of this tribal mentality. It still exists because they know, like, I can only rely on my friends, on my family, or whoever is around. And specifically talking about Turkey is just the warm-hearted people that just help each other. I am amazed, when I need 50 volunteers, it just takes, we have a next amputee coming then, and I have a line of people saying they will help and they show up.
mm. That's really interesting because what you're saying is that because over here we have a kind of a relatively good system, people say, well, the government or the people in charge are going to come and sort it out. I don't need to be involved. But in other societies where the system is a bit more chaotic, people realize they do need to step in because if they don't step in, the person might not survive or there might be a bigger issue
Yeah.
for that to happen.
And it's just sometimes, even if the system exists, I would say US, UK, European Union, like Austria, Germany, the Netherlands, that the help is, it can get to you faster than in other places that are not as well. Let's say they're not as well funded, well trained, not well maintained systems. So I would say that our comforts are making us, we are creatures of comfort. And one of those knowing that somebody can come and help me if anything happens.
Yeah. So what kind of triggered you to move and do that? Create that organization, the Wings for Heroes. Was it that incident you mentioned there in Ukraine, or was there something another trigger that made you okay? You know what? I'm going to step in here and actually put a lot of focus on helping veterans.
Yes, there was the last trigger was I saw a teenage girl with one leg walk out in the middle of a football stadium, full football stadium, and she said, "They can take my life, but they can never break me." And she was so strong, and she moved everybody so, she was so powerful, just her presence. It's a young, beautiful girl who lost her leg, and she's standing in front of everyone, and she's saying, you're not going to stop me. Like, she decided to become the voice and the face for all the men and women. And just to give you the numbers, in Ukraine last summer, it was over 50,000 amputees.
Wow. Yeah.
So that is major. And when you see somebody who is standing in front of a lot of people and saying, they can't break me, I said, I have to do something. There is something that I have to do, and more than saying, well, the government will do it, somebody else will do it. It's just, if we all do it, it's not enough. We can't help them all. But I think I am crazy enough to believe that I can help all 50,000. That's my big goal. My drive. Like the thing that drives me. I don't remember when I worked so hard. We're always looking for that inner strength. And I found that when I'm working for somebody else for a goal that is not about me, it's not about me. It's about them. I I have so much energy. I sleep maybe 4 or 5 hours a day, and then I wake up and I go straight to work because I know that I have a lot to get done. There are a lot of people who are waiting, and I'm actually saving lives. Hadi, one of the things is that we all need to know is that sometimes by stopping and seeing a person who is hurting, just giving that touch, saying, "Hey, are you okay? Do you need anything?" That one moment can save a life.
Yeah. It's really,
And I believe that if you save one life, you save the whole world.
100%. And I feel like we're forgetting that skill that I think we all have to be able to kind of impact others in a powerful way. And the beautiful thing about that kind of skill is not only does it kind of actually save lives, which is amazing, but it actually kind of connects to some inner part of us that kind of makes us happy, that makes us valuable, that makes us stronger. It's a kind of a win-win situation because we kind of connect to that powerful energy, and we're also saving lives, which is actually more important than the other thing. So it's kind of a win-win situation that we can all access, and we all have the skill sets to do. If someone was hearing this and they're thinking, how can I start that process? What would you tell them to be able to kind of help others?
I think the important thing to realize is that going through difficult times is part of the game. So I will use your analogy, right? So we're playing the game, and the game has a set. The rules are set. So one of the things is that realizing that all the difficulties that you're going through, sometimes they can be so painful. We go through things in life, we don't know how we're going to take the next breath, forget about the next step or next goal. And a lot of people suffer from depressions and they cannot get out of bed. But what you said is that, what the connection when you are helping other people, I think it's the source. People call the connecting to the source. You're not going to connect to the source through meditating. But when you are doing something for somebody else, you forget about you. You forget about your issues, and you forget about your problems. And when you really follow something that really drives you from inside, and I think that everybody felt that little tinge inside, that little thing that I really have to do this. You know what I'm talking about? That really it's something that you really want. I think I say it like this: we have two compasses. One is up here in the head, and one is in the heart, in whatever you call it. So let's say you have a heart and the head. Sometimes your heart wants to go, but then the head says, no, don't stop. It's a bad idea.
Yeah.
That is the place of the disconnect. So if you're going through a difficult time, just remember things that made you happy. Or one thing that made you happy, just if you cannot do it, just think about it. That's the first step, because you can get through it, and once you get through your challenges, you actually acquire the skills and the strength to go up. Game of life is a spiral. We're going up the spiral. So once you get through a difficulty, you acquire that knowledge, that strength, that resilience, or whatever you needed to acquire before you can reach your goals. For some people, it could be something really elementary, something small. some people, it could be something huge, but it doesn't really matter because you can only take as much as you can take. And we all are part of the big game, and we're playing a certain role. So whoever is in a difficult situation, or whoever is trying to reach that, just your goals are important. The things that are important to you, they're important to the whole universe. And if you just take the next step, you will get there. It just takes one thing. Just push yourself. Just believe that if you take one step, you will get there.
Yeah, no, totally agree with that advice. I was actually asking about what can people do if they want to help out, like how would they kind of start that process? But before we kind of go there, because you mentioned their resilience, and I'm sure in the work that you do, you see a lot of resilience and kind of pushing through. What do you think people misunderstand about resilience?
First of all, I think that we acquire our knowledge from the society, from our parents, from what's around us. And a lot of limitations come from just living a normal life. So I think, it's such a big question. I think I got a little bit far away with thinking, but I think helping yourself is the first step. So you help yourself. And if you're in a situation where you cannot help yourself, but you can help somebody else, just do it. It doesn't matter what it is. People go volunteer at the soup kitchen and they see others suffer and they say, wow, my life is not really that bad.
It's perspective you
I
get,
think,
right, from that.
yeah. And resilience, it's just like training, like exercises. If you accept challenges that come your way, you have two choices. It's coming your way, say, I'm going to do it, or I'm not going to do it. If you do something difficult that came your way, at the end of that task, you are stronger and you are more resilient, and you train it like a muscle. I'm 100% certain that if you take a regular person from the United States or UK and you place them in my situation, or even worse, in the situation of amputees and injured people who are coming from war, they will just die from a psychological shock. So, but there are some people who get pulled out from their home and they get sent to the front lines. And most of them are kids, they're 18, 20 years old. So what we don't understand about the resilience is that, first of all, it's inside all of us and it's endless. The suffering that people in history endured shows us that we are really, really strong. And when you go through it yourself, when you make the choice and you say, I'm going to get through, then you will find out what's inside of you. And I'm 100% certain that we are so much stronger than we can even imagine. And even just saying, look, I'm going to try this thing, whatever that exercise, or, learning a language, or learning a business skill, or picking up a call and calling somebody like on the big customer, or, anything that's important to you. There is fear. Once you push through that fear, you become more resilient. So it's like a muscle, but the potential in us, it's endless. It's unlimited.
Yeah, for sure. I think a lot of people just don't work on building that muscle of resilience, because obviously you have to put yourself in positions that are challenging. Some people don't choose to put themselves in. Sometimes their environment forces that upon them and they have no choice but to react and to build that resilience, as you mentioned over there. And, human history is a story of resilience. The stuff that humans have gone through is just insane. To be able to come out at the other end and come stronger out at the other end is something that is extremely powerful. But I think one of the things that are important in today's world that I feel like we're missing is that ability to go through discomfort. And I think that's one of the things that we're struggling as a society, because we're kind of creating a new generation where they're not going through the discomfort. We're always talking about safety and, what's
Comfort.
comfortable and it's all those things. And I feel like it's very hard to understand or be grateful for things if you're always in a comfortable position. I always remember, when I went through, whether it's simple things as even hiking, through a couple days in the forest or climbing a
Mhm.
mountain, and then you come back, and then even a shower is amazing. Like hot
Right?
food's amazing. All these things you take for granted suddenly are just beautiful things that you're just really enjoying, and they're so simple. And I think that's the the issue that we're facing is that we're not allowing a lot of people to go through challenges so that they appreciate everything we have around us.
Yeah.
And
I absolutely agree with you.
yeah,
I think the best apple that I tasted was at the top of the mountain in the middle of the winter when you had no food, and then you find one at the bottom of your backpack. You're
yeah,
like,
yeah,
that is the best apple I ever had.
yeah. No, for sure. Um, you know, when you kind of going to the point of about how do people start kind of getting into that place where they can help out? You mentioned there essentially, taking small steps in terms of what is the smallest contribution I can make in my environment right now. You mentioned there, soup houses where you can go and just kind of volunteer for a bit and then build it up from there, right? That's what you were saying.
I'm saying that everyone has a different situation. I'm sure that if you take your listeners, you have some people that are doing extremely well, and there are some people that may be losing everything they have. And actually the distance between one and the other, it's very short. I've been through it, and I think that if you read the autobiography of Napoleon Hill, he was out 4 times. The guy who was advising president during World War II and writing letters to get the war funded for the United States, who was the most successful motivational person in history, the person who did the most work. If people are not familiar with Napoleon Hill, he actually invested 25 years of his life studying what makes people successful. He was out 4 times completely.
When you say out,
So
what do you mean by that? Oh,
bankruptcy,
bankruptcy. Okay.
financial
Yeah.
ruins. He was financially ruined 4 times in his life, and the fifth time he was looking at he had 4 manuscripts. One of them was Think and Grow Rich, sitting on his shelf, and he felt that it was not good enough
Mhm.
until he read somebody's story. It came out really well promoted book, and he let his wife read, and he was standing there thinking, I know what she will say when she finished reading it. And she said, you are selling this stuff. You are going to offer what you already put together. You're going to get it to the world. So what I'm saying is that we have this stigma that I'm a failure because I didn't do something, because I lost a business, because, well, things don't work out in life, for everybody, even for the most famous motivational person in the history of this planet, the person who had access to the most successful people in the most successful and prosperous country in the world, the United States. He had this Carnegie, a steel magnate, who gave them letters of introduction, Ford, who was the first billionaire, and all these people, President Eisenhower. He was in touch with such powerful people. He was at the right place at the right time, doing the right thing, and yet he ended up 4 times financially ruined.
Yeah.
So whoever's going through difficult times needs to realize that it's just a normal thing, and we have to get through it.
Yeah.
How do you start? Just go outside. If you just go outside, help somebody cross the street. It doesn't matter. Go say hi to a veteran. Go to a hospital, visit kids. There's so many people that need help. Donate blood. We have huge shortage of blood in any country, in any place, in any states. I went to Wisconsin. They were organizing blood drives. It was this month. They have a huge shortage of blood. Just go give your blood, and you will feel so much better. You will save somebody's life, and that the next day you will wake up a new person. So just do something small to help somebody else, and it will help you get through your challenges. And I am 100% certain on that.
Agreed. No, 100% agreed. And the way I see it is, whatever struggle that people are usually facing, it's allowing you to experience something that allows you to grow. It's allowing you to experience something that allows you to appreciate something else. As an example, we only really appreciate health when we understand sickness. We only kind of appreciate eating when we cannot eat for a couple of days and then we're able to. So only when something's gone do we actually appreciate when having it. And so all the challenges we're facing, just allowing us to have a more in-depth experience, if we allow it to help us do that, which is the struggle, right? Because I'll bring the
Yes.
game analogy again. When we're playing a game and you're trying to do something and it doesn't work out, you don't tell yourself, "Oh my God, I'm awful. I'm just horrible." No, it's a game. You're playing a game and you're enjoying it. You're going to find out how to, do it in a different way to move to the next step. And just I think approaching life like that for me has been very helpful to see things. Okay, I can make this about myself, or I can just treat it like a game, and we're playing a game, and we're just experiencing this thing called life, and we're just going to move forward in the best possible way whilst learning that experience.
I would like to ask you real quickly, because I know you went through a lot of challenges in your life. How do you get through? Like, what drives you?
I think it's you know, for a very long time in my life, I made everything about myself.
Okay.
Oh, this means I'm not good enough, or this means I'm not capable, or this means, and now it's more about just enjoying the experience, even if it's a struggle, even if it's a challenge. It's okay. What am I learning from this right now? Like I'm learning this, 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 this. I think it's coming to the conclusion that whatever drawbacks you're making about this, if you're listing 10 drawbacks about this event that happened or this action that happened, I can list 100 benefits from it.
Right.
I can choose, my mind's not automatically going to go and do that. I actually have to sit down and kind of list the benefits because my mind usually looks for what is the negative thing.
Negative.
But whatever event it is, if it's 10 drawbacks, I can find 100 benefits from that. And so, really, there isn't events that are all good or all bad. It's just an event that you are experiencing, that you are learning from, and you're just gonna move forward and try to appreciate everything around you, even the challenges these days. I try to appreciate and be thankful for because it's letting me grow.
Yeah.
But obviously, that is very easy to say, but it took so much of errors and going through challenges to really get into that mindset of experiencing that.
I would. It's really it's beautiful. And only one thing is that I may add is that everybody goes through that. That the most successful people, I've met billionaires. They have so many issues.
Mm.
I don't want their problems.
Yeah.
I really don't. Everybody wants to become a billionaire, but it's a great thing if it really is your path. But people who run big companies have issues. And I remember, like, when I was working for a big company that had problems, it's all I was dealing. It was just all my life energy was gone into solving it. Like, I put out so much emotionally that I had nothing physically left to do anything.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter. A lot of times we equate our well-being and how well we're doing in life to our bank account. And I lived through the times when I had a lot of money, and I will tell you that those are not the most easiest and comfortable times in my life. However, I remember times when I was homeless, and the happy moments. It was 2004. Okay, we're talking more than 20 years. One of my happiest memories came from the time when I was being homeless, and it is related to food and appreciation. Seeing that, wow, like we have organic chicken
Yeah.
on Christmas.
That's really interesting. It's interesting how when everything's taken away, suddenly the small things mean a lot. And in a world where we live in abundance, it's hard to experience that. But also, I totally agree with what you just said there, which is, and that's actually one of the things that really helped me, which I forgot about, is realizing everyone is going through challenges. Because at the beginning, it was always like, because you're so in your head, you think it's the challenge that only you are going through. A lot of people don't understand that stuff. But if you talk to everyone, from the person that is smiling to the person that is whatever, to the richest, they're all going through challenges. And we assume that their challenge is less because they have this, but it's the same thing. And sometimes it's even worse.
How do one of the things that was challenging for me, like I've done all the things that I've done in my life. You've seen my resume. I've done it for me
Mm.
because it was very important, and when you have a big goal, it takes you years, sometimes decades to get there. And then you get there. So it's not about me, but let's say somebody wants a luxury car. Let's say we want a new sport Bentley that costs, 300,000 pounds plus. And you work decades and you have sacrificed time with your family, your health, you did a lot of things to get there. And then you get that car and you're driving, and everybody from the outside is looking, and they're seeing that car and you driving that car. But nobody has been there. Nobody has traveled that road, to get there. So to get from point A to point B requires effort. And the further and the steeper away that point B, the more effort it requires. And seeing people up there and saying, oh, they have it so good. I really would go back to me, and I just want to do my work, and I just want to do things that are important to me. And that's what is important to focus on. Like, what is important to me? Like, a lot of people told me, don't do this, Wings for Heroes, what are you doing? Why are you not in the financial world where you know everybody, everything, you have the golden key that opens every door. Just go make money, stash it. And one of the ideas I have, yeah, maybe I should do it, but some people cannot wait for me to get my stuff done. So I have to, I dedicate myself to other people, and it makes life really different. I may not have millions in the bank, but I am happy and I'm satisfied and I'm really energetic. I get this energy. Before we came on, I had to take a nap because I wake up in the middle of the night with an idea and I have to go and start working on my idea.
Mm.
If it was for me, I would fall asleep, If it was for me, I would fall asleep, wake up in the morning, think,
Yeah.
what was I thinking about? It was so great.
There.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. You're just kind of on a high vibration, high energy kind of mode. Just, yeah.
I would say I found the connection to the source, and the connection to the source, connection to that strength, resilience, all the positive things, the life energy is by choosing somebody else over me, over my needs. And I really, like you, like everybody else, I have needs. I thought I had to do something else. I thought I had to do something that my mind told me, but I decided, this time I'm going to follow my heart. And it made the whole difference.
Yeah.
So if for somebody who is stuck, we call it stuck, or is not certain, it's that thing that you really want to do, and that thing that you're putting off that really is like making you feel really tingly and excited when you think about it. That's what you should try on working on, even if it's just a few minutes a day, like take care of all your responsibilities. Actually, like with me, I'd like to get up really early when everyone is sleeping. You can work on your dreams while everyone is sleeping. 4 a.m. is the best time.
Yeah. Yeah. No, totally agree. What's the feeling that the people that you serve have when, because I understand you take them flying?
Um, what I do is that I take them out of their environment. I bring them to a foreign country. As we're speaking right now, if you see my shirt, it's actually the logo on it is from our first client, passenger. I don't know what you call it. His name is Valik. He was 21 years old when he got shot in the leg and he lost his right leg. A little more than a month ago, we found out that he has serious issue with the other leg and we have to save his leg. He's actually on the plane right now. He'll be landing in about an hour at the airport, and he's coming here for 1 month of rehabilitation. That is the next major step for our organization. So first it was, we take them out for 1 week. They rest, they enjoy the culture. They're on the beach in a quiet, peaceful
Is
place.
it all in Turkey?
We show them around. Yes. And then they go paragliding because I'm a paragliding pilot. And one thing that I know is that when you take a passenger, and when I went the first time as a passenger, I thought I'm dying. I said goodbye to my dad. I said goodbye to my brother,
There.
because you see the hill is dropping off further and further. And I'm like, I don't even know that guy behind me. Like, what am I doing? So
Yeah.
my idea was, if you
Sorry,
take
just with paragliding is the one with the parachutes?
yeah, you
Yeah.
have like this little plastic thing above you. There is no fuselage. You run
Yeah.
off the mountain and you are in open environment. You don't have any
Oh, no.
protection. You're
Okay.
just
So that's
hanging
with
in a little backpack.
with like a kite or with the parachute?
Yeah, like a kite, but you go off the mountain and it's a really big kite. It's like Intouchable. Remember that movie Intouchable, French movie?
Yeah.
Black gentleman is taking care of a paraplegic and they
Yeah.
go paragliding in one scene.
Yeah. Yeah. And
That's the thing.
you walk. Yeah, I've done this. It's like one of the scariest things you can do. Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
So I thought that if you make them do one of the scariest things, they'll forget. I know they forget about that they're missing a leg or an arm or whatever. And that experience is great. But seeing that somebody cares and is not forgetting them, like first it was like this, like, I am not really sure about this guy. I'm not really sure about this organization. But when they see that we're really happy to see them and we're all there to serve, they open up and they show you what resilience is like. If you want to show resilience, find a friend who's missing some part of the body and just become friends and see how they think and see the world. And they say yes to everything. So a program that was, let's take them out flying, became, we are taking them to an environment where they can rest. Now it's up to 10 days. They're spending with us 10 days on the beach, submerged in culture, just everybody stay. It's all about them. And on wingsforheroes.org, I am trying to make movies and put it out so people can actually see what we're doing. If you scroll down to the bottom of any page, you'll see the videos and what they're so grateful that somebody didn't forget about them, because in reality, our society forgets about the strongest people, the bravest people. There is peace, there is war, and in that space, there are brave men and women, like our friend Valik, like all the people who said, I'm going to go stop them. I was saying, look, you protect me. If anything happens to you, I will protect you. The only issue is that with time, people forgot that. And that thing that we said, the greatest threat is apathy. Imagine if young men and women will say, look, I know that society is not going to take care of me. I'm not going to go defend my country. And then we have big issues. We have big problems. And I want to live in a peaceful world. I want my family, my friends to live in a peaceful world. And I think it's important for us to take care of them.
100% agree with that, Lyubim. Love what you're doing, and thanks for sharing that with us. If people wanted to find out more about what you do or reach out to you, where can they do that?
Wingsforheroes.org. So it's wings, plural, number 4, wingsforheroes.org. The story is there. The videos are there. It's all there. I am easily accessible. We are an open organization. We welcome anyone. If people want to come and see how we work, if people want to become a part of it, I'd say at the Red, I'm a big fan of the Red Cross, of the founder of the Red Cross, Henry Dunant. He was one guy who started the Red Cross. But in any case, I learned that you can donate blood because there's always shortage. You can provide service or volunteer because there's always a need, and giving your time and your effort is the biggest thing that you can give. But if you're in a position that you cannot do either one, you donate money. So there are 3 things that anyone of us can do. But to get the story, it's at the wingsforheroes.org. And I would really love to hear from people. If anybody wants to know more about it, they're more than welcome. Just message me and I'll get back. This organization exists because Lyubim wanted to prove one point and answer one question. And that question that I hear all the time is that, what can I do? I am just one person.
Mhm.
Have you heard that, Hadi?
All the time.
I am the only person. Look, we
Yeah.
have the big government, we have
Right.
corporations, on and on. What can I do? Wings for Heroes exist because one person said, I'm going to do it. But before me, there was Henry Dunant. It's a banker from Switzerland who in 1859 was traveling for business to Italy, and he witnessed the Battle of Solferino. In June, the Imperial Army met the Austrian-Hungarian army. It was over 300,000 people fighting in a town called Solferino. And when they were done, there were 40,000 dead and wounded, and not one person helping.
Mhm.
And that young man, when he saw that, he could not look away. And he said, I'm going to help. So he organized all the villages. They started pulling out people who were alive. It took them weeks. They filled out churches, homes, everything. When he was done, he went home and he wrote a book. It's called A Memory of Solferino. And that book started the Red Cross. It came out. He was there in 1859. I think he wrote it 2 years later. And then 11 months later, they started the Red Cross and signed the first Geneva Convention that says how we're going to treat, wounded soldiers and people who are innocent bystanders. So today, the Red Cross has almost 12 million volunteers around the world. One guy started it.
Yeah.
So if somebody ever had that question, what can I do? I'm just one person. You have no idea what you can do. You can change this whole world. You can make it a better place, and any one of us can do it. And I just wanted to prove that, I am in the position of my life where I really need to go to the States because I needed to work. I'm finished with Ukraine. There's everything that I worked for 10 years. It stays there, not because of my willing, because of the circumstance. And I have to restart and I have to move forward. But I decided to stay one more time. And I'm answering the question, what can I do? Anybody who is hearing me and Hadi, you can do so much. You can be a next Henry Dunant who started the Red Cross. I don't know.
Yeah.
But if you don't try, I think nobody will know. And as we started at the beginning, this game of life, it will end for all of us. Everybody who we know will die, including me, including, my family. We will leave this table, we will not be playing for long. And we have one chance. And I think that if anybody's listening to this show, take that chance. Because the alternative to me personally is more threatening than anything, just thinking that I didn't try something. You know how that thing is like, what
Mm.
will you think about on a dying bed?
Yeah.
I will be a happy guy. I know that
Yeah. Yeah.
because I took my chances, and it was hard. It was extremely hard, heartbreaking, difficult, humiliating, uncertain, all those things. But I will be okay on the way out.
Yeah. Yeah. But all those things are what gives depth to life. It gives appreciation, gives perspectives, and gives strength, really. So, in the moment, there are always things that we don't want, but afterwards, it's the things that make us who we are. And to your point, we're never too small to make an impact, even if it's just one action. It can have a huge ripple impact. And it reminded me of this quote by Margaret Mead, which said, "Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it is the only thing that ever has." So it only requires a very small group to change the world. And Lyubim, you are part of that group changing the world. So thanks for sharing your story. Thanks for everything you do. And thanks for being here with us today.
Thank you for inviting me. I'm really grateful that I had this conversation. It means a lot, Hadi. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. Really appreciate it.